The peace of a home was shaken when a mother, with tears in her eyes, asked her son an exorbitant amount for urgent health treatment. The young couple, in the face of the pain of a loved one, did not have the courage to refuse. 500,000 reais were delivered without question, moved by compassion and fear of losing those who have always been next to it. But what seemed like a gesture of love hid a truth that would change everything. And it was an accidental discovery that made the hitherto silent daughter-in-law open her eyes to a reality she would rather ignore. Good night, listeners. I am André Branco, and it is with great satisfaction that I share with you another real story here on The Blood Ties. Get ready for an account that will mess with your emotions and make you reflect on how far love goes and manipulation within a family. Follow with me. Ludmila has always been proud to be a thoughtful woman. In 5 years of marriage, he learned to swallow dry in the eccentricities of her husband, Igor, and the tricks of her mother, Tamara. But what happened in that fall was too much for his patience of steel. It all started with health complaints, first, back pain, then heart problems, then joints that could not stand anymore. Tamara, with a soap opera drama, described her son's unbearable suffering, painting a picture of despair. Doctors didn't know what to do anymore, and just expensive treatment in a private clinic could save her. Igor, as always, fell in the easy tear. Ludmila saw how he consumed herself after every mother's connection, the lit cigarette on the counter, the lost look, the anguish of having to choose between the wife and the woman who raised him. It was as if, in those moments, he became a frightened boy, divided between two affections. Lud, the mother is very bad, he said, avoiding looking at her. Doctors say it's urgent, that without this treatment, but it's expensive, very expensive. And she shut up. He knew that any resistance would be interpreted as a lack of heart, as a disguised selfishness. Tamara had a gift, turning her child's fault into currency. And Igor, once again, paid the price. The money came out of the couple's economies, 500,000 reais, almost everything they had gathered with sweat to enter an apartment. Ludmila, manager in a construction company, earned about 7,000 per month, Igor, IT analyst, 8. They lived tight, supermarket only on sale, weekend on train beach, vacation abroad. Don't even think. Each real saved was a small victory. And now, all this would stop in Tamara's hands, supposedly to save your life. It's a special rehab program, Igor justified, telling the notes. 3 weeks in a medical spa, with procedures and medicines. Doctors insist it's the only way out. Tamara disappeared with the money. He sent sparse messages, always vacancies, treatment is working, but it is very difficult, doctors are satisfied, but I need absolute rest. Ludmila distrusted from the beginning. The mother-in-law was a master of staging, always arranged a way to suck her son, whether with late accounts, expensive medicines, or renovations in the house. Igor, blinded by affection, was running to help her, leaving her own family in the background. But without evidence, Ludmila swallowed the revolt. His weapon was patience. She knew how to wait for the right time to act. And that moment arrived without warning. A friend, Svetlana, came back on vacation in Turkey and, flipping through photos, came across a well-known face. "Lud, isn't it your mother-in-law?" he asked, showing the cell phone. In the image, Tamara appeared lying on a lounger on the edge of a pool, in a 5-star resort, wearing a flashy bikini and sunglasses. Beside, a tanned man in the 50 house displayed a gold chain in his chest. Both laughed, relaxed, as if they had no concern in the world. Something inside Ludmila boiled. Asked for the photo, water. Ru on his cell phone and began to investigate. On social networks, he discovered the profile of Man Valet, executive of an oil company, clearly used to luxury. What's more, there was a sequence of images of the same hotel in Turkey, sophisticated dinners, envy suites, paradise tours. And in several of them, Tamara appeared, although he took care not to mark her. Ludmila saved everything. Now, just wait for the mother-in-law to go back. Igor, oblivious to everything, still received his mother's messages about the difficult treatment sessions and bought expensive supplements to help with recovery. When Tamara came back 3 weeks later, she was tanned, rested, with a shine in her eyes that suffering did not justify. He complained about the rigor of the spa, the pain of therapies, but his body said something else. "Mommy, you lost so much." Igor worried. "Ah, son, it was horrible, but it was worth it. The doctors said I need to repeat 6 months from now," she replied with a calculated sigh. Ludmila listened to all that with her fists. It was not enough to have stolen from them. The blatant lie was not enough. Tamara still planned to do it all over again. That night, while the mother-in-law left and Igor slept, she printed the photos. He analyzed every detail: Tamara's smile, the luxury around, the date of the publications. In the morning, it served breakfast with an extra dose of real. "Put the images on the table. See how your mother treated herself," he said, with a calm that scared even herself. Igor choked. The coffee burned his throat, his hands trembled. He turned the photos one by one, as if he expected that from some angle everything made sense. This is a mistake," he stammered. "Maybe it's not her. Or it's old photos." Ludmila left no room for illusions. "Here is the date. Here, the location of the hotel in Antalya. And here, the profile of her lover, with everything documented. Your mother cheated on us, Igor. Stole our future." The world collapsed to him. "I always knew that Tamara was manipulative, but never imagined that she was able to cruelty so well planned." In her husband's eyes, Ludmila saw the struggle between anger, disappointment, and love of son, that love that, even wounded, still resisted. "And now?" he asked, lost. The answer came firmly, without hesitation: "Let's go to her. Today. And these clear 1,000 riaris come back to where she belongs." Tamara welcomed them from robe and slippers, pretending weakness. He started talking about post-treatment tiredness, but Ludmila gave no chance. He threw the photos on the table. "How do this spa explains in Turkey?" he asked, staring at her without blinking. Tamara's face has become seconds. The mask of pain fell, revealing a cold, almost predatory look. She had been caught, and now she went to the attack. "How it dares," he started, but Ludmila didn't go back. "The war was just beginning. Do you dares to control me?" Tamara shouted, the voice shaking with fury. The fingers nailed the table, the nails painted dark red like claws ready for the attack. "Should I account for some shit about where and how do I spend my money?" "Mom," Igor interrupted, the voice breaking between anger and pain. "You borrowed $500,000 for treatment, but you were having fun with a man in Turkey. How can you?" Tamara laughs with disdain, a sharp sound like breaking glass. "So what? I created you, I put you to stand, I study you. Now I'm not entitled to a little piece. These money were mine by right, I paid with years of maternal sacrifice. It was the drop of water." Something inside Ludmila burst. Years of humiliation, tight accounts, delayed dreams exploded in one sentence. "You stole us." The voice did not train. It was pure ice. "We save on everything, no vacation, no luxuries," telling each coin, "while you celebrated with our sweat. With our future." Tamara sillied, her eyes injected with hatred. "Close that mouth, your bitch. This is my son, and he owes me. And you? Who do you think it's? A enjoyer who got into my family." The slap came fast, but Ludmila was faster. Years of gym were not just for aesthetics. She dodged, turned her body and, with a dry push on her shoulder, she sent her mother-in-law flying toward the couch. Tamara fell with a thud, the robe opening in misleading. "Mom, stop!" Igor roared, trying to hold both, but it was late. Tamara got up like a fury, nails on display, her hair disheveled. "I'll kill you, you bitch." What came later was not a fight. It was war. Tamara scratched, bit, spit like an animal wrapped in. Ludmila blocked, pushed, her teeth clenched. Igor, desperate, tried to separate them, but brought elbows from both. Until, with a guttural euro, he immobilized his mother against the wall, his fingers sinking into his arms. Just the vein in the neck pulsating. "Return the money. Now." Tamara spat on the floor, the twisted lips. "I don't have it anymore. I've spent it. And I was my right. Then it will return in installments." Ludmila dried the blood from the corner of her mouth, her eyes burning. 50,000 a month. And we will oversee each penny. What authority? Tamara tried Bluefoo, but her voice failed. She saw Igor's gaze. For the first time, he didn't retreat. With the authority of those who have evidence. Ludmila opened the folder on the table. Photos, bank statements, messages. Mohu, Tamara Nikolaevna. The police will love this dossier. The police name was like a bucket of cold water. Tamara paled. He knew, those evidence would sink her. The fingers trembled. Okay, he ranged between his teeth. But I don't have everything now. Then start tomorrow. Ludmila didn't give in. And if a single payment is missing, the police report comes out at the same time. Igor nodded, his face is a mask of disappointment and relief. For the first time, he chose his wife. And Tamara understood, I had lost. But not without first burning everything. You will regret, he said as he signed the payment agreement. They destroyed this family for money. No. Ludmila took the pen, the signature firm. You destroyed alone. With lies, blackmail and false victim. The money was ours. The family you tear. Tamara spat a last curse before leaving, dragging her feet like a defeated witch. But the war was not over. In the following months, each deposit was accompanied by hysterical bonds, threats, poisonous gossip scattered among relatives. Your daughter-in-law is a werewolf, he shouted to anyone who wanted to hear. My son became a monster. The family divided. Some applauded Ludmila. Others condemned their cruelty with an old sick. Igor oscillated between guilt and freedom, but gradually he understood, the mother would never stop. There would always be a new crisis, a new treatment, a new excuse to suck your money. Until, 6 months later, Tamara demanded another 200,000. Either you help me, or I die. He wimped on the phone. Igor looked at Ludmila. In her eyes, there was no mercy. Just tiredness and a certainty of steel. He arrives. This time, there was no negotiation. Tamara shouted, kicked, threatened with eternal curses. But the money didn't come. And when the last penny was paid, she cut the son of life. I have no children anymore, he announced everyone. He chose a strange instead of his own mother. Igor cried. But for the first time, it didn't give in. 3 years later, their house smelled the new ink and children's laughs. Daniel, his son, crawled on the floor as Ludmila marked the last mortgage installment. We got it, he murmured, leaning his forehead on her husband's shoulder. Tamara learned from her grandson by neighbors. He watched the building, peered in the park, dreamed of a dramatic reunion, but pride suffocated her. I would never ask for forgiveness. I would never admit it was wrong. Valerie, Turkey's lover, married a 25-year-old girl. Tamara was alone, but kept the speech, I'm the victim. P.E. Sowers no longer believed. The photos of the treatment, the spa beads, the repeated lies. Your reputation became dust. Igor sometimes asked for her by obligation, not for longing. But I knew, without real regret, there would be no forgiveness. Ludmila didn't regret it. He learned that silence is complicity, and that love is not measured by tolerance to abuse. 500,000 came back. Dignity, too. And when Daniel was crying in the crib, she whispered in her son's ear. Never let anyone make you foolish, my love. Not even blood. Because there are truths that hurt more than knives, but they cut the ties that poison us. Sometimes pain is the only antidote against those who treat us as hostage to their own mediocrity. Ludmila understood that late, but understood. And when Daniel grows up, she will look at her mother and know, there are battles that get silent, others that are watched. And the most important, those who are locking in, never to accept crumbs when the banquet deserves. End of history. Or rather, beginning of a new one.